Hey everybody, this is Mark Richards, the owner of Wasatch Recovery and a proud sponsor of Todd Sylvester's BeliefCast. We are excited to have you join us as we discuss Wasatch Recovery's unique treatment programs for overcoming addictions and techniques for developing a healthier lifestyle. We call this the Wasatch Way. Wasatch Recovery's goal is to instill hope, teach resilience, and help you achieve recovery. Enjoy today's podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Welcome to the You're OK Mental Fitness Studio. I would like to thank our sponsors, Ned Siegfried, Luke Peterson, and Todd Bradford with Siegfried and Jensen, Mark Richards with Wasatch Recovery, Colby and Mackenzie with Thread Wallets, Drew Peterson with First Digital, Greg Jackson with Mountain West Spine and Orthopedics, and Travis Whitaker, the owner of Living Recovery Interventions. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to Paul Cardall. The music that you hear at the beginning and the ending of these episodes is by Paul Cardall. He's an amazing person, and he's been one of my heroes for years. So thanks to all my sponsors and Paul Cardall for believing in me. I love you guys so much. Please enjoy this next episode. Welcome back, everyone. This is Todd with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast, and today's another edition of the Wasatch Way. Normally we have Mark Richards on, who's the owner of Wasatch Recovery, but today I have Christian Smith. He's one of the best guys I know, and he is the marketing director at Wasatch Recovery. Sorry, Ryan Decker, you just lost that title.
Yeah, you can hear us chuckling because before we started this, you said, "What's my title?" I don't have a title. I just do it. Whatever it is, I just do
my
it.
job. So. Yeah. He just does his job. But he is in marketing. He's out there bringing people in and letting people know about our amazing program. And Christian it feels like he knows everybody. All walks of life. I run into people all the time that know Christian, and it's beautiful to be friends with him and also work with him. And so thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Feelings mutual.
Yeah, thank you. You know, we were sitting here. What do we want to talk about? We've talked about so many subjects on here, and Christian had an experience last night with a group that he talks to, and maybe I'll let you kind of just explain what you were doing last night and how effective that was. And I think I want to talk about this subject about the lies that we tell ourselves.
Okay. I'm in recovery. Some of you have heard this. I'm in recovery. Many years of drug and alcohol and pornography, gambling, inappropriate relationships. And since recovery, since I've been blessed with this recovery, having been recovered, we're
Yes.
chuckling. You can't see on this, but we're chuckling. I love that word. I think it's appropriate. I love it. I've been given the opportunity to meet with a group of men every Tuesday night from the ages of 18 to 30 who are struggling with some addiction. And excuse me, might have to edit that cough.
Okay,
and
it's all good.
We had a large group come in last night, and I kind of punted instead of discussing, or sometimes we'll do some step work. Most of it is more of a discussion of what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
We watched this little video clip. It's 9 minutes and 11 seconds long by the Skit Guys called God's Chisel. I'd seen it. It was one of those catalytic video clips 13 years ago that went, wait a minute, something changed, and it really helped. And I thought, let's see if anybody has the same effect on them.
Yeah.
So we play the video clip. There are 17 guys in that group, and during the video clip, half of them are crying.
Wow.
And the video clip it's God chiseling away stuff that is not necessary in one's life.
Yeah.
That we hold on to, and the pain of the chisel, and it's just two guys. It's worth watching. I think these are non-denominational guys that are doing it. But during one of the parts of that video clip, God says to the guy who's chiseling, who's saying this hurts really bad. God says stuff like, "It hurts me more than it hurts you," which we get a chuckle out of. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
But then it gets serious for a minute, and God says, wait a minute, to the guy he's chiseling.
Yeah.
He says, you've bought into the lies. And he didn't elaborate specifically at that point in the video clip of the lies. And as you and I were talking, we see a lot of people come through Wasatch Recovery that we've talked about this. The substance abuse or the addiction behavior is not the problem. There's problems associated with it. It's problematic, legal, relationship, self-worth, love, but it's really a symptom. We've talked about that.
Absolutely.
Ad nauseum. So you and I were talking about what are the lies? I know my personal lies that I bought into. One was that I'm not lovable.
Yeah.
I am, God can't love me. My wife can't love me. I'm not trustable ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought maybe we could have a talk of what lies do you see and do I see men and women coming into Wasatch that we really spend a lot of time processing, helping them understand that that belief system or that lie that they bought into is illogical, irrational, and it's totally not true.
Yeah.
What I've seen a lot of it is from my side, is that the lie of not being lovable.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a big one. We hear that one a lot here, don't we? Many of you listening know my background as well. I was an addict for a long time and been clean and recovered for 33 years now, believe it or not. That blows my mind. Like, I can't, it's weird to even say that out loud, but I'm very grateful for it too. I never take that for granted. The biggest lies in my experience in 33 years that I hear with meeting with thousands of clients, and if I was to start at the bottom, and if I say the top three, number 3 is my problems are way too big. I'll never change. There's no way to undo this. The second one is I'm different, so I can't connect. I hear that one a lot. Like, you don't understand me. My problems are different. I'm somehow unique, so I'll never be able to connect with anybody. And then the one, and it kind of goes along with I'm not lovable. And this kind of like is a broad brush, but it's I'm not good enough. I think every irrational belief that we fall into and we believe the lie feeds into ultimately I'm just not good enough at the end of the day. And that was one that I bought into hook, line, and sinker when I was, even before my addiction. Because again, addiction is just a way that I dealt with certain things. But boy, even as a young kid, I struggled with walking around believing, and I think anyone listening to this would agree that they struggled with thinking, I don't know if I'm good enough. I'm not as good as that person. I'm not as pretty as that girl. I'm not as smart as that kid. Why won't they ask me, I guess I'm not worthy of their time, or whatever it is, right? And so those are the things that I think I've witnessed over the years.
I'm looking at, it should be in Todd's office, because on the wall in big vinyl letters that you cannot miss is another lie that most people that come to us have bought into, which says the most delightful surprise in life is to suddenly recognize there is nothing wrong with me. It says you, but
with me,
first tense me.
Yeah.
Because that was at the core of many of these lies is that belief system.
Yeah.
I am bad. I'm wrong. I'm broken. I am faulty, defective, whatever. And that's a lie. Here's a question I have for you, Todd.
Yeah.
When we start to look at the lies that we've bought into and we start to get back on track, realizing those lies are illogical, irrational, and really not true.
Yeah.
What does that do to, whether it's addiction or mental health, anxieties, depressions, what does that do in the healing process, in your experience?
When you start
realizing that's BS.
Well, I mean, that in itself, the awareness that it is actually a lie, I mean, coming to that point is very therapeutic, right?
How so?
Well, I mean, it's almost like this, you felt, I mean, and I'm just speaking with myself, it was like this weight of darkness surrounding me, thinking these and believing these lies. But when I started realizing, no, that is a lie. And it's almost as if, and I, just for visuals, it's as if the light turned on. And what that felt like is my heart, I could feel my heart beating in my chest. I felt this surge of energy. I felt this love. Like, in some religions, they call it the spirit. Others might call it something different, energy, whatever. I call it love, man. I felt nothing but this love, not only just for myself, but for everyone. I would look at someone like you and go, man, I love this dude. And I love that person. I don't care what they've done or where they're at. That's where it was like, I felt love. And I know that sounds like almost even a little corny, but that's what it felt like to me. And when I felt that, it's like, I want to share this with the world. It was like, I was like, almost like, I want everyone to know this. I want everyone to feel this. And that's why I got into this line of work. And I'm sure, Christian, you can agree.
Exactly. Same exact, very similar experience.
Yeah.
That when I finally figured out I was buying into those lies, they were definitely lies. When I finally realized, wait a minute, I am lovable. And the love quickly went from, okay, this God can love me, but you know what? I look in the mirror today and I love me.
Yeah.
When 13 years ago, I looked in that mirror and go, I hate you. I hate you. Wow. I remember once my dad, I was on the streets living, and Kelly had enough. My wife had said, I'm not doing this anymore, so went to mom and dad's. I abused that. They get back from being out of the country for a few years, and now I'm homeless. And I called my dad. They had a few of my clothes. I chose to be homeless. At that point, Dad and Mom didn't kick me out. I said, I don't want to be here anymore. They had rules.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Rules in their house.
God, how dare they? I mean,
I'm 48 years old. I don't need your rules. Hell,
there's
I should
a
have been in
curfew.
your house. Yeah.
You got to be in by 10.
So I remember, vividly remember calling Dad and said, I'm not coming back. I'm gonna do cocaine on the streets. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But will you bring me down some of my belongings?
Yeah.
I didn't have any belongings. So he begrudgingly met me at the Smiths in Rose Park.
Oh, man.
In the parking lot. And there were very few words spoken as he pulled some stuff out. It was a really shame-based, nonverbal conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe he would do it differently. But I remember he claims he never said it. I swore I heard, son, I hate you. And again, he said he didn't remember it this way, but I remember saying, I hate me too.
Yeah. Wow.
And because I wasn't lovable. And that lie, when I figured that out, I am lovable. In fact, I'm really good at loving when I'm in a healthy space. And the more I gave that love that you just described, the more I showed it, exhibited it, and gave it. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
The more I received love, not necessarily to be validation, because I struggled with I want validation. You know, I can't love me early on. I can't love me if you sons of guns don't love me.
Yeah.
But when that light lit up, that I'm lovable, and in fact, not to be narcissistic, but I can look in the mirror and go, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I still miss 3-foot putts for $5 or $6. You know, I still have weakness and problems.
Sure.
But because I stopped buying into the lies of perfection and expectations that are unrealistic, you better meet those. I find it a lot easier in life just to go through life and know it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But at the core is, I no longer believe in those lies, and the first one starts with love.
Wow.
I am lovable.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that story. That's powerful. Especially when you said, I hate me too. And maybe your dad didn't say those exact words, but that's the message that came across to you. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And again, your dad's probably doing the best that he can, trying to figure out how the hell do I wake up my son? And if I have to get rough and mean right now, I'm going to. You know what I mean? So, props to your dad for having the guts to say whatever he said. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
But if that's the message that hopefully maybe you go, what? Really, Dad? That's where you're at with me?
It tells you a little bit of where I was, and I think where a lot of our clients are when they get here.
Yeah.
Is instead of, in the old me, would have, when someone says, I hate you, I hate you. We would have gone back and forth. I hate you.
Right.
And I vividly remember that response was not that. It was, I hate me too.
Jeez.
I hate me too.
Yeah. I think worse than the addiction, worse than the criminal behavior. For those who don't know, Christian spent a long time in prison. I know it's jail.
Okay, let me correct you. It was jail. It was jail. Major difference.
We always laugh. I always say he was in prison. He says jail. But either way, it's the same thing, I think. But I think the biggest hindrance to change and lie. But the biggest hindrance is self-hatred. Like that when you hate you, you don't care what you do. You don't even care if you die. You don't care if you go to jail. You don't care if you blow up family relationships. You think you do. Deep down, you might kind of have a flicker of caring, but you're so caught up in that self-hatred that you're just, it's that belief of that lie that you're so far gone, you'll never change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think of the times as you were sharing that, I immediately went to when I was in those desperate moments of despair and depression.
Yeah.
And on 2 occasions I attempted to take my life. One was a serious violent attempt that obviously failed. But I'm thinking that was at the core of all that was going on in those moments was this lie that I was unlovable. There's no redemption of any kind. I'm not talking in religious, spiritual, just no way that the world would ever accept that I could fit into this standards of the world.
Yeah.
And that hurt so bad that the remedy for me was, let's end it. And I think maybe, the UVU's got a suicide prevention conference coming up, which we don't have anything to do with, but that's a conference that I've looked at they've got some keynote speakers that are worth it. But I wonder if maybe one of the Wasatch ways that I've observed, and I've been doing this 13 years in different treatment centers, there is a lot of love coming out of Wasatch. Now there'll be people who listen to this and go, well, they didn't love me, they were mean to me. No, we were honest.
Honest, exactly.
And sometimes that's painfully honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're filling the role that I wish the family support system could have stepped in earlier and said, we love you so much that we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to enable and contribute.
Yeah.
Instead, we see family members who literally are loving their loved one to death, whether that's through drugs, depression, suicide, whatever. Yeah. And so the intervention that was effective for me was one family kindly, we're not loving you to death anymore, Christian.
Wow.
Sorry, go spend some time as a guest of the state. Yeah. Not prison.
Not prison, jail. He always corrects me when I say that. I'm like, is there a difference? I mean, come on. But, I can't imagine a world without you, Christian, because had the attempts worked and you weren't here, I mean, I think of the lives you've touched and the people you helped into treatment, the people you have a conversation on the side of the barn here that we're in that are impactful, that changes their life, just perspective, the stories you share, the group you work with on Tuesdays, you're a man of faith, and just the people you rub shoulders with your religion. I mean, think about all that. That would be missing. That would be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, this is for anyone listening to this. You all have that influence. Every single one of you. You just got to decide where you're going to put that energy. And you finally said, okay, I'm changing my life, and now I'm giving back. I'm not buying into the lies anymore, because that's kind of our theme today. And now you have this powerful belief system. I know you're not perfect. No one is. But you do have a powerful, strong belief about you that you're good. And that's not narcissistic. It's funny. We're okay beating ourselves up, saying all this negative stuff, but we say something positive, we're like, we always have to clarify, okay, I'm not being narcissistic. I'm not being cocky. No. Why can't we say something positive about ourselves and just be okay with it?
Where did that come from? Is that a societal thing that we grew up with?
I think so.
That you can I can take your criticism, your critical feedback. Christian, your elbow comes way too high on the backswing in your golf. I can take that, but I'm very uncomfortable when you say, Christian, that was a really good swing. Yeah. That was really, and your technique was beautiful. I don't receive compliments very well. I can take criticism to a point.
Yeah.
But why do we do that as a society? It's hard to take.
Yeah, I think in my experience, what it comes down to is that we don't believe it. So if I pay someone a compliment, one of our clients is sitting on the couch here, and I pay him a compliment, and they just kind of squirm and go, oh, whatever, they shake their head. It's because they don't believe the compliment. And what I was taught as a young kid by a guy named Dennis Waitley, who wrote, he was a motivational speaker. He did Psychology of Winning. He was the sports psychologist for the U.S. Olympic ski team. And he always would say, when someone pays you a compliment, you look them right in the eye and with conviction, tell them thank you. even if you still don't fully believe the compliment, but that's your way of owning it. And so, and again, I've struggled with that too. And I don't know why. And maybe it is society. We don't want to look like we're bragging and going, oh yeah, look at me, look at my swing. You know, I don't know what it is, but yet, oh yeah, my swing sucks and everyone laughs and we're okay with it. But I think that's part of our problem. And we see the clients coming in here, they have beat themselves up to a pulp and they're so comfortable with that. They're comfortable with self-hatred. Yet when they start loving themselves and they start seeing the light, they're like, whoa, 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 turn that off. Even though they know it's good.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
We talk about me being failing at an attempt at suicide or attempts at suicide. The one of the benefits that I see is I do get to help other people, and I love doing that. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
The foundation of that is now having 9 grandchildren,
Right.
knowing that they're being brought up in an environment that it's tough to live in the world today. Because the world wants to beat you down. It wants to tell you, wants to talk you into believing
Absolutely.
the lies that you're not good enough, you never will be good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, all of these things, you're not smart enough. And I have made it a mission, continue to make it a mission. My grandkids are going to hear positive affirmations.
Wow.
And I am not going to allow them to believe the lies that I suckered into believing for so many years that kept me in such a dark, dark, dark place.
Wow. Dude, I mean, and I know how much you love being a grandpa. Like, we just celebrated your birthday here a few weeks ago, and you know, your daughter surprised you with everyone here, and all the grandkids were here, and just to see them come up and hug you and just watch you light up. I mean, again, you would have missed out on all that.
All of that.
All of that.
And they would have missed out on a Gramps who can be open and honest with unconditional love. I can tell him, hey, that what you did, Blake, was dumb. Don't do that. That was silly. Don't do that again. He can hear it because he knows it's coming from an unconditional place of love.
Yeah.
And then I get to point out the goodness in them and the positive affirmations, because the world, for whatever reason, society wants to take it out of them, and I'm going to do everything I can to stop that. And that's what we do here at Wasatch. The world wants to take you down.
Right.
It's just natural course of you're not good enough. And here at Wasatch, one of the unique things, having worked at multiple treatment centers, there's a uniqueness about Wasatch that you don't come into us believing, but where we believe you come to us because you are broken and busted and flawed.
Right.
We are going to fix that lie right off the bat. And sometimes it might be painful because clients buy into that so strongly.
Big time.
But it's coming from a place of love, which
absolutely
where we go back to.
For sure. I was just looking up the reason why I grabbed my phone. I just wanted to confirm, you know, the suicide prevention line has changed. The number changed. All you have to do is type in 988. That's it.
I saw that.
So I just want to let anyone listening, if you know someone who might be suicidal, or if you are, dial 988. That's all you got to do. 988. You know, you can actually text 988 as well. Anything you need to do. I just want to point that out in case someone's listening to this who might be struggling. So we're talking about lies that to overcome. Let's talk about the truths for a minute. Okay. Well, okay. I apologize. I want to bring up one more lie. Because Christian, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too. Because, like, there's these belief systems that keep us stuck. I really do. I've understood over the years in doing this and studying this that our beliefs dictate our behavior. So if I have a negative belief, my behavior will mirror it. It'll be negative. And one of the beliefs I see, especially in recovery, that people buy into is that somehow they're missing out if they can't drink or do drugs anymore. There's a belief that I'm somehow, you know, we hear this all the time. I wish I was a normie. I don't like that term because it's almost like, well, look at that person. They can drink and they're okay. Why can't that be me? And then they think they're missing out. I think the biggest belief and lie that needs to be obliterated is that one. You're not missing out if you don't drink. You're not missing out if you don't, smoke pot. You're not missing out if you don't go party. To be honest with you, now that I've done this a long time, they're missing out. Like, I don't need a glass of wine to make my meal better. I don't need a glass of wine to have a better conversation with Christian. I don't need to smoke a joint with so-and-so so I can connect with them. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you see that too?
Yeah.
Like somehow they're like, I'm missing out. I wish I could be that person.
And early on in the recovery process, I was guilty of that thought process.
Yes.
Like I would kind of metaphorically, symbolically look over my shoulder. Gosh, those guys, they're sure having fun.
Exactly.
And I can't have fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not too many years into recovery, but definitely right now, I actually feel like you do on that. They're missing out. Those guys that are, and they can do it responsibly.
Sure.
There's no judgment there. I abuse the privilege to drink like a gentleman.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people don't. But what they're missing out is some authentic connection. If I've got mood and mind altering substances, even in an appropriate level,
Yeah.
I'm still missing out on some connection with grandkids and
Absolutely.
with my wife and with my
Yeah.
own children.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to have changed that lie from I'm not missing out. And we get inundated when you turn on the telly
Totally.
or the movie
Yeah.
screen. You know, nobody's having a good conversation without a glass of a
Right.
beverage
Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
their hand. And so we get this picture of, that happiness or joy is equated to having mood and mind altering substances. What
Yeah.
a crock. That's a lie.
It's the lie, man. Isn't that a big one?
Yeah, it is a big
It's
lie.
a big one. And I bring this up a lot in my groups here at Wasatch, and everyone always goes, yeah, you're right. We've all bought into that. Like somehow, so, being clean and sober is going to suck. It's going to be boring. It might feel that way in the beginning because you're not used to the calm, right? We're used to the chaos, but yet stay in the calm for a minute. And I promise you're going to come out the other side, and that light's going to be so bright. The greater the darkness, the greater the light. That's exactly what it is. But you have to be willing to go through that.
It is a process. And a dear friend of mine and ours, Lemma Harrington, years ago did a group, The Evolution of the Word Why, W-H-Y.
Mm-hmm.
And the first part of it was, why is this happening to me? And then it evolved a little bit to, well, what am I to learn from this?
Yeah.
And then the final evolution is, why am I so lucky? And I feel like you and I are in that place of, we have been blessed to understand.
Yes.
Not only don't I don't miss drinking and drugging one bit, not one bit.
Yeah.
I think to myself, why would I ever have wanted to do that?
Yeah.
Why did I want to do that? Well, we know now it was it was self-medicating emotional
masking
pain.
some pain.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, some of the truths that I'd like to maybe talk about here for a minute is, I believe people are powerful, not powerless. I do. I believe that's the truth. There's people out there that will preach that they're weak and powerless, but I will teach the clients that they're strong and powerful. And I know that goes against the grain in recovery, and I'm sorry if I'm rubbing someone the wrong way, but the truth is, and if you really are honest with yourself, you're powerful. You're powerful. And so that's one truth. The other truth is that, again, there's nothing wrong with you, and doesn't mean we don't have stuff to work on, but to your core, your value as a human being, Christian, whether you were running and gunning or doing what you're doing now, has always been 100. Always. But yet we buy into the lie that somehow 25%. No, you're at 100. I always say this: there's either no special people in the world, or we're all special.
Which goes to my
that.
core value system.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, I am a man of faith or a man of God.
Yes.
And I wear that with a badge of honor. I do believe there's
God's
a God.
Gatekeeper.
No, I don't. Well, that's another topic we'll talk about.
I'm teasing.
Too many
That's
of
an
my
inside
friends,
joke.
Yeah, we'll
That's
talk
an inside
about God's gatekeeping in the future.
I'm teasing. Totally teasing.
But I do believe in a God. I
Yeah.
do believe a God created me. And I do believe God doesn't create junk.
Wow.
Not one bit.
Yeah,
Never created a junk. If that God created any junk at all, what does that say about the God that I represent to understand?
Yeah.
It doesn't speak highly of that God. So
Right.
I do believe that when you go to this powerful versus powerless, that I bought into a little bit of the powerless.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a healthy respect that I will never drink like a gentleman.
Well,
Don't
sure.
want to play it.
Yeah.
But the power was always within me.
Yes.
I just needed to look to the right places. I was looking in the wrong places,
Yep.
man. I was looking in the bottom of the bottle, or pills, or cocaine, or sex, or gambling, when I needed to look to something brighter.
Yeah.
You referred to it as the light.
Well, think how powerful you were in a negative way. You were really powerful.
You bet.
When you were out there doing all that, you were very powerful, but in the wrong direction. I always tell this to the clients. You are so powerful. And the proof is, look how good you were at using and abusing drugs and alcohol. You would do whatever it took. If you wanted to get something, you went and got it.
You bet.
Dude, and no, at any means disposal. If you shift that energy into this direction and being clean, you're going to be the dude or the woman that's going to change the world. Seriously. All you have to do is shift that energy into the positive direction. That's why when we see people like yourself who have been on one side and look at you now, you're on the other. You have shifted that energy into this direction, and that's why you're on fire over here. Seriously.
It's the funnest thing.
Yeah.
It really is. We get to do it most of the time, not all the time. Every once in a while we get to do it dozens at a time, but most of the time I get to do this. I get to save the world one person at a time.
Yeah.
And when we get enough of us that have had that transformation, and there are many, and every day there are more,
Yep.
one at a time factored, multiplied by many becomes changing the world.
Changing the world. It goes from 100,000 to 1 million to tens of millions to hundreds of millions to billions. It's true. The ripple effect of one person, it's crazy, isn't it? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying you're powerful. So anyone that thinks they're powerless, that's BS.
That's a lie.
It is a lie.
Yeah.
You know, you're not broken. You're not. Sorry. I know you're not perfect. No one is. But again, to your core, like you said, God doesn't make junk. God doesn't make mistakes. Period. To your core, you're solid. And I always say this, you were born honest. You were born clean. You weren't born with anxiety and depression. You weren't born a liar and a criminal. You learned all that, which means now you unlearned it. And you're actually being more like who you were, Christian, before you ever started. See, we always identify. Here's the other lie. I know we're going back and forth, truths and lies here, but another lie I'd like to mention is we identify ourselves with our addiction years. Like, how old were you when you first used anything? How old were you?
Like the sample?
Like, even if you just drank one night or had a beer or whatever.
A sample of alcohol at age 12 or 13.
12 or 13, whatever that was. And granted, I mean, that didn't turn into a full-blown addiction at the time, but think about it. You know, you were so many years in your addiction, right? How many?
27.
27 years. So you'll identify, I'm not saying you're doing this, but most people would identify, hey, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. And I always say, well, did you use today? No. Did you drink today? No. Did you drink yesterday? No. The day before? It's been how many years? 13?
13 years.
13 for you. Congratulations, by the way. That's freaking amazing. 13 years. So, but here's the thing. Why can't we identify ourselves from the time we were born till the time we started using? Because isn't that the real authentic you? Again, you weren't born a liar. Yep. You weren't born a thief. You weren't born to manipulate. You loved everyone. You had faith as big as the universe. You loved yourself. That's the authentic you. So that's really what you did. Once you got past this addiction piece and got over the emotional pain, guess what? You got back in line with who you were when you were born.
Yep.
Fair?
Yeah, it is. Out of these 9 grandkids, 3 of them are under 18 months. And I get to look at them and have watched them develop into just laying there, like cuddling with nothingness, into quickly being able to smile and react and start crawling and rolling over. And there's nothing but love. No judgment, just love. They get to that 2-year-old, 3-year-old, still a lot of love, some stupidity, but a lot of love and unconditional stuff.
Totally.
No lying, no manipulating,
none.
No fake. They're being authentic.
Completely. That's the authentic you.
Yeah.
And here's what's beautiful. Tell me if you like this. I will say this to the clients who have kids or who have nieces or nephews or cousins. When they're young and they walk into a room, what do we feel? And everyone's like, "Oh man, we melt. We love them. We all, you know." And I say, "There's reasons why," and they give all these reasons why. Oh, I love them. They're pure. They're innocent, and I agree with all of it. But I think the biggest reason why and I'm going to use you, Christian, as an example, when you see one of your grandchildren walk into the room, when there you are, the reason why you light up like a Christmas tree is because that grandchild is a reminder of who you are.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it is. Yes, you could say all those other great qualities, but it's that grandchild reminds me, hey, Grandpa, you're me. Remember? Wow.
That makes a lot of sense because I do light up and they light up. It's reciprocal.
Yeah.
Whether it's my 10-year-old granddaughter, Grandpa,
Yes.
and when we go into the room meet for the first time, having not met for a week, a day, or whatever, this big hug, or whether it's the 2-year-old Beckham or Brixton, Bumpa or Gramps, and they
Yeah.
come running. That is a reminder that's why one of the reasons I love it.
Yeah.
That's who I am at my core, right there. I'm just a guy who loves,
Absolutely.
without judgment.
Yep.
Just want the hugs,
Yep.
just love.
Yep. And anyone listening to this knows Christian has a heart of gold. It's as big as this room, and grateful to be rubbing shoulders with you. Seriously, truly mean that. I'm not just saying this because we say this off the air,
we do.
so this isn't
we're
fake.
consistent. Yep.
I do care about you, and I love what you do. I've really learned and just watched you work and learned to really just respect what you do. Like when you invited me to that golf tournament, Good Time Golf, which is doing a lot of good out there,
Yeah.
helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you invited me to come to their tournament, which was really cool. It was it was my first time golfing with you. But just to watch you interact with everybody, everyone knows you. They're all, hey, Christian, and and you're hugging everyone, and they light up when they see you. And I'm like, and I came back here, and you can ask anyone here who works here. I said, I now know why Christian's so good at what he does. It was a reminder, an eye-opening thing for me. I was like, that's why he's so good at bringing people to this place to get fixed and to get help. It's beautiful.
It's
You're
part
so
of,
good at it.
Thank you.
You're so good at it.
Thank you.
You really are. And we have a great team here. Decker, that guy's got a heart of gold as well. Isn't he the funniest, greatest dude on the planet?
He is. He really is.
Like, I would love to take him everywhere. I'm serious. When I go on a date with my wife, I want Decker there. I'm serious. He's just so fun.
As you go down this list of him and others that we could go, it's dawning on me. In large part, the team is so good because they're so authentic.
Yeah.
This isn't fake. You can fake this stuff for a day, a week, a month, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not. Nobody here is pretentious and
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
We are authentic. Decker is as authentic as it gets. He is who he is.
Oh, yeah, and he doesn't hold back.
You, Mark, everybody, Wendy.
Yep. Corey.
Wendy
Tina,
would
Tessa.
be nice if she was nicer.
Hopefully she doesn't listen to this. Just kidding.
I hope she's
No, I
listening.
hope she's listening. Anyway, we do have a great team, and Wendy being our clinical director, she's great at what she does. At the end of the day, that woman ain't afraid to help change lives, and she'll say whatever she needs to say.
To love you enough to give you the story as it
Absolutely.
is seen from her as a professional and a good
100%.
professional.
Boy, yeah, she's powerful that way.
We're not helping anybody. I'm not helping my grandkids if I'm not a big believer in the participation thing when they go to soccer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not helping my grandkids if I'm not being honest with them. Not
Exactly.
mean honest.
Right.
Just being
Just be honest.
honest with them.
Yeah.
If I'm going to say, "Oh no, you should have won that event. No, you didn't perform well that day." It's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You
You'll do
don't-
better next time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're less than or not enough.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Wow.
God,
This is
we
awesome.
We could talk all day.
Oh, we could.
We really
all
could.
day.
Well, hey, anyone listening to this, hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you realize that these lies that we tell ourselves, challenge them. If you're struggling with them, reach out to Christian or myself. We'll help you through that. If you have a loved one right now who's struggling that needs treatment, who needs to get in, whether it's residential or day treatment or IOP, we'll get you in. And Christian's the person you need to reach out to. And so what is the best way for someone to do that, Christian?
Direct number. Call. We have our mainline number. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'm not on it, but you're welcome to call my cell number anytime. Area code 801-870-1379.
Okay. I challenge you guys to call them, seriously. And if you have a loved one who's struggling, you think they might be struggling with addiction, but you're almost even afraid to bring it up, have them listen to this episode. Just send them a link saying, hey, listen to this episode. I think it'll help you. It breaks the ice. And then you follow up with them and saying, hey, what'd you get from that episode that you listened to? And hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Hey, reach out to Christian, give them a call. And if we're not the right fit, Christian will find the place for you.
Absolutely.
Right?
So, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of treatment opportunities, selections out there, and the difference is not clinical. The difference is all cultural, and that's a big deal.
Big
So
time.
if we're not it, we'd find somebody who's a better fit.
Okay, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. It means the world to us. Thanks to our sponsors. We love you. Thanks for believing in us. And why don't we end, Christian? Why don't you read that one more time out loud, and we'll end with that.
The most delightful surprise in life is to suddenly recognize there is nothing wrong with you.